What is Bible context and why is it important when we're studying the Bible? That is what we want to navigate and explore today, coming up. What's up, everyone? My name is Reynaldo Ramos with Vine Media, and we just love and desire to help connect people to the vine that is Jesus. And we do that by making videos and hopefully sharing from our experiences what we've learned along the way of being pastors, seminary students, and just longtime followers of Jesus. And so that's our desire. So today we want to look at Bible context. What is it? Why is it important? Okay. First of all, what is it? What is Bible context? If you've spent some time in church or trying to study the Bible, that's a term that you've probably heard before. And I like to describe it as this. The Bible context is looking at the verse or verses or chapters that you're reading and trying to step back a little bit further to understand what's happening. And it answers the question who, what, when, where, and how or why, if you can. It doesn't always answer those questions, but that's what we want to do. So I'm going to take, for instance, the book of Romans, right? You could just read a verse from there and say, oh, this is what this means, and try to preach. But when you start to understand, oh, the book of Romans is a book written by who? By Paul. To who? The church at Rome. What's the context? Oh, he never was able to visit Rome. How do we know? We look at the book of Acts. And, oh, but he wanted to visit Rome. How do we know? We look at the book of Acts. That's navigating context to better understand what's happening in this book that Paul wrote to Rome, to the church, the Christian church at Rome, to understand, oh, Rome was a hub. This was one of the biggest cities. This is like New York or LA. And so it just gives us a bigger picture is what we want when we're studying scripture, to get us a better understanding. And so I want to give you three main reasons why I think Bible context and biblical context when studying the scripture is extremely important. Number one, it helps us pinpoint our own biases. And here's what I mean by that. We all come to the scripture with bias. We can pretend like we don't, but the truth is we do. We come with our self and everything that comes with. And so we come with our own bias. What Bible context does is it starts to strip those things away. So when I understand who Paul is, or when I understand who the church of Rome is, I start to strip away my American heritage or that nationalist thing that thinks of something a certain way. Or when I look and study David as a king, and I start to understand what he went through to become king, and the people desiring a king and what his role was as king, I strip away some ideas of politics I might have because I live in America and there's a president. So it starts to pinpoint and help us strip away our own biases. The second thing it helps us do is it helps us understand the historical context, the author and the audience. Again, going back to my example of Paul, writing to the church at Rome, or writing to the church at Philippi, or writing to the church at Ephesus. Who are these people? And so Bible context has to answer that. And so we got to navigate. So we can go let's jump to Ephesus. We can jump to the book of Acts and look at all the places that the church of Ephesus was. There's a lot of information there. We could jump to the book of Revelation, and there's a portion there to the church at Ephesus. And so we have this context to help us broaden and better our understanding about it. The next thing that Bible context helps us do is it helps us become more faithful teachers and understanding of the text. If you want to be a Bible teacher or a small group leader or a preacher, Bible context is going to it's going to force us to be more faithful to the text rather than come with our own thoughts. And as we teach and as we help people see what Scripture is about, the Bible context becomes that extra layer. Um, and and this isn't 100%, but there's a less chance of misinterpreting or misunderstanding Scripture when we have good context and when we understand the questions that would help us get better context while we're studying the Bible. So there you have it. If you want to become, want to strip yourself of biases when you're studying the Scripture, if you want to understand historical context when it comes to author and audience, and if you want to be a more faithful Bible teacher, then Bible context and understanding Bible context is extremely, extremely important. And so I pray that you would stay connected to the vine that is Jesus, and we will see you next time.